Hi, it's Sue Reed coming to you from my garden for another little video insight. It's so much easier when I'm thinking of these things, writing them in a journal, than it is to make a video of it because I keep trying to get settings right. I just don't know how to do this, so I'm doing the best I can. Why am I doing it? Because I have to. I've spent a lifetime hiding and isolating and understanding that what I came from was abuse, and trying to understand how to rewire my brain so that I'm being true to myself, so I am starting to live as who I'm supposed to be. All of us are sort of on that journey here on earth to figure out who we are, and some of us have like little inklings that things aren't right or um, could be better, and some don't. And I've always been in touch with spirit more so than people, because my beginning experiences was people were mostly fear-based. So I knew things weren't right with me from the get-go, from as early as I can remember. And all I had was my creativity and some degree of faith. Faith that there had to be a reason for everything I was going through, because there was too many times I just wanted to exit stage left and just say, I can't do this. I cannot live this life. It's too hard. There's too much. Oh, see what I mean? I can't even make a video, right? Nothing's easy for me. Nothing. So this is why I have to do this. Coming from abuse, everything gets skewed. You get rewired. Your brain gets rewired by whomever is entrusted to care for you. And if they don't have their, we'll say, poop straight, then you're gonna have some residual stuff from that. And maybe I'm being very vague right now, but we can still love the people that did us the most harm, for a couple of reasons, and I won't get into the complicated ones now, but essentially, if you look at somebody as a soul and they've come down on earth to learn stuff, then we're all flawed. But we're flawed in a way that's going to either teach us to rise to the occasion and learn, or it might just suck us up alive. It's your choice. You have free will and you get to decide. So for me, I knew there had to be something better than what I was coming from, but I didn't know when or how. I just knew it wouldn't happen to the later part of my life. But like I said, I've spent my whole life hiding who I was. I have no big, huge secrets, just afraid of who I was because I wasn't allowed to be that person. I was manipulated. I was, made to think what others wanted and do what others wanted, and I was raised codependent. I was raised in a sexually abusive environment. I was, never good enough. I was raised in shame and guilt, in all the flaws of the people around me who hadn't figured it out yet. I had succumbed to their weaknesses, and I had to learn forgiveness, or I seemed to know it from inside. I just knew how to love and I knew how to forgive, but it didn't mean life was any easier for me. It meant that maybe I was like a healer of some sort or whatever, but that was my purpose and mystery to figure out. So why am I doing this now? Because it's the next chapter of my life where I can't hide anymore. I can't be invisible anymore. It's just not working. In order to be your authentic self, coming from abuse, you have a lot of doors to unlock and a lot of mysteries to figure out. And, I've learned we all have the tools to do it. It's just whether we're brave enough and whether somebody kind of says we can do it. Because sometimes we don't know until somebody says something and then it like clicks in us going, wow, that's right, and you start unlocking things. So I have to start talking. I would never talk, and I would not use what we call a throat chakra. and I was shut down every part of my life. Every time I tried to speak, I was shut down. If I became rebellious and yelled to try to be heard, I was called crazy. So that became a trigger for me, growing up. And it wasn't really a happy childhood. There were some happy moments, mostly when I would create things. If I made stuff for my parents or whatever, there were some moments. I take with me my mom's sewing desires. I take with me my dad's building and tools, which is something I only recently kind of discovered. But I've had to work through all the bad stuff. I've had to learn that I wasn't myself, first of all, so that was a crash and burn. That was a near, fatal situation where I just didn't want to be here anymore. After 100 times of saying I didn't want to be here anymore. And I had kids to keep me here, essentially. So, I'd look to them to find out why I still needed to be here. And so, again, trying to stay focused here, and why I'm doing this is the only way I'm going to finally heal myself is to just talk, is to just get all of these things out. I've done it by journaling, but if I take those to the grave, who knows? Maybe there's just one person out there that might benefit from something I have to share. If it saves one life, or it just gives somebody hope that through the worst situations, you can succeed. I thought something was really wrong with me when I was young. I didn't know what. And then later on, I discovered it was ADD. And that was like another, knife in the gut, because I already had the dysfunction of abuse. I already had all of that, rewiring, no identity. The only things I had were my creativity, my artwork, and some inkling, some little tie to spirit that there was a reason for all of this. I just didn't know what, and I didn't always want to accept it. I didn't always want to believe there had to be something better, because I was angry a lot of the time for suffering so much, and having a lot of circumstances beyond my control, because I didn't have the skills to get out of danger, to be who I was. I hadn't. So if I don't speak out now, I fear what the rest of my life will be. And it's like, once you know better, you have to do better. Otherwise, it's painful. It's as much pain as going through a life of abuse and not knowing it, wondering why you always want to, numb yourself or escape, and you did nothing wrong. So I'll leave it at that for right now, and I'll continue making these videos, and some of them will get pretty complex. Some of them may touch on things that other people are going through, but I just have to do it. So that's it. I'm risking everything by doing it, because I know people like to judge each other, and that's what I've always been terrified of. I was really good at doing it to myself. I didn't need anybody else adding to it, but it's a reality we live in. So thank you for joining me today, if you did, and I send my love to all, to you, and I wish for you the best, and I'll talk to you again. Thank you. Again, Sue Reed, over and out.